principal is the agent for CIF, and I think the folks who are involved in athletics need to understand that there's a protocol that has to be followed. There's rules, there's policy, and the person that really is responsible for that is the principal of the school. Everything comes back to the principal of the school. So I really feel that it is the main responsibility of the principal to be the person that is the most knowledgeable and the person that is going to enforce those policies without any question. And I think that's an example that everybody at the school will follow, as long as the principal is setting a great example.
I think there's kind of two reasons. The first one is I would think most of us who are principals got appointed by somebody, a board or a group of owners or something, someone who signed a form voluntarily joining the CIF. And based on that agreement, I think we have a moral obligation to honor the requirements of the association that we join voluntarily. I think the second reason is if you care about education, you care about kids, you know that ultimately athletics is a critical part of high school education and it needs to be managed effectively, and the CIF does that, and the rules and regulations of the CIF are designed to create effective education within the athletic context. And as the primary educator on your campus, you're responsible for that.
I believe the principal is the ultimate in the schools. The kids look up to the principals. Being an old world kind of a person with morals, I believe CIF is a self-policing organization, and so whenever anything is discovered within our system, he is the one, and he is the one that's notified. It definitely is him that has to follow the rules to the letter of the law and check on the possible penalties or who he needs to report to. He always is the person also that is the guidance of the school, making sure that everybody is following exactly what they should be doing.
Well, Harry Truman once said as president that the buck stops here, and I think with the principal, with the broad amount of administrative duties that they have at a school campus, the same thing applies there. Whether it's CIF rules, whether it's school rules or budget rules, budgetary rules, academic rules, everything stops with the principal. So it's within the principal's best interest to have a knowledge of CIF rules so that when the time comes, if a situation arises, they're better able to make that decision. As most people know, that no matter what happens at a school, very often it's athletics that causes the biggest turmoil, whether it should be the most important aspect or problem at a school or not. So it's within the principal's best interest, whether it means having a close relationship with their athletic director or with the CIF front office or section offices. I think it's in their best interest to have a knowledge of those CIF rules so they can make a better qualified decision when the time arises.
I think everything that probably is the most misunderstood concept is that the principals run the CIF. They make the rules. It's a principal-driven organization. Being the head of the school, it'd be like being the CEO of a company. They need to know and understand what those rules are. They need to know and understand that maybe more so than any other program on their campus, those kinds of things are most visible to the community. Many schools, their identity is tied to that. I hear principals and I hear community saying the CIF did this, 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 and this, when in fact all they're doing is enforcing the rules that principals have put in place. And sometimes principals, I think, maybe use the CIF as a scapegoat. The CIF said, well, in fact, the principal said the CIF is doing nothing more than enforcing and doing the due diligence of what the principals have mandated them to do.
Well, CIF is a self-reporting agency, and for the fairness, equity, and level playing field for all of our schools, we all need to be enforcing those rules. In our bylaws, it's one of the requirements. If we join CIF, we are required to enforce those rules. So for fairness for everyone, it's important that we do that.